Welcome back to the channel, everyone. So this video is my wish list for the next generation of Farming Simulator. I assume there'll be an announcement this year, probably prior to FarmCon. There'll be maybe some news about up and coming releases, and then possibly at FarmCon you'll see further details on the next generation of the game. Whether that's FS25 or FS26, you know, that's for Giants ears only at the moment, I suppose. So all I want to do is just sort of go through a few things that I would like to see in the next generation of the game. So here we are, we're on No Man's Land, and this is the old save game. I used this save game for the mod review that I did the other day. And the first topic that I want to go over is vehicle damage. So I think the mechanics around the repair system, that's okay. I mean, maybe you could improve it. I think you might have a bit of pushback from manufacturers who, you know, really don't want to see their equipment being damaged in any way or underperforming. But one thing I definitely know, and I'm surprised that manufacturers even allow it, is the paint condition. So this Massey here, I mean, it's only got just over 30 hours on it. And as you can see, there's a lot of paint chipped off around those arches. Probably, yeah, 3-point linkage. You might see some damage there, you know, picking stuff up, but look at all the axles, things like that. I mean, I'm assuming that these mudguards will be plastic, so you know, why they would get paint damage anyway is unknown. So that's one thing about, you know, how quickly after 30 hours use, that's how much the damage, that's the condition of the paint. If you look at this here, the Deutz-Fahr that I like, I mean, this is a modded tractor. This is the Giants version, and this is like something that a mod has done. And there's actually a lot less paint damage, even though it's got slightly more hours, has it? Yeah, 32 hours. So that's probably more representative of what I'd see. And I just think that that's something that Giants could improve on in the next generation. And if you look at this weight, that's a base game. I mean, the damage, yeah, it's on the corners. That's about right where you'd expect. So the next thing, let's just nip up to the store. I don't have anywhere I can repaint vehicles, but that's just... But the next point about this is just the cost of repainting the tractors. Right, so we've just come into the store, and if we go and jump into the menu here, as you see, to repaint the tractor, £32,000. I mean, it's set to pounds, but it's pounds or dollars. I mean, that's ridiculous. There's absolutely no way it would cost £32,000. And then, if you do repaint it and repair it, the tractor becomes worth more. I don't think that would be true. If you spent $32,000 repainting the tractor, you ain't going to make that much money back on it. So definitely my sort of first point would be, let's sort out the paint condition and the sort of wear and tear on them, and just make it look a little bit more realistic. Alright, so for my next point, it kind of leads on to the third one that I want to talk about. But I touched on this in the best mod review, and that's the in-cab view. So I say I use the realistic cab view, which, you know, limits how much movement you can do, simulates your shoulders turning, things like that, and you can look out. I think that's something really good. But when it comes to doing loading operations, I just find that, you know, for me to go from looking forward to looking back, you know, without using a mouse, which I feel is really clunky if you're either on a steering wheel and joystick or using a gamepad. I think what I would like to see them do is maybe have presets. So you could maybe have a position here where you can sort of see your forks a bit better or something, and you sort of make a preset for that. And then from here I'd want to be reversing, so maybe I want to look like back here, so I could maybe just set that as another preset, and then you could just sort of flick between the two and it will move really quickly, so that, you know, when you're doing loading operations like this, you can just flow a little bit better. Because, you know, for me to turn back now takes quite a while. So yeah, that would be something I'd like to see. Maybe presets, 2 or 3 presets, and you can just either cycle between them or bind them to a key or a gamepad function. Right, and so for my next one, and to be honest, this is the thing that I would really like to see change most. When Platinum Edition came out with the Silver Run and all the logging, Giants did an amazing job of getting log physics a lot better. You know, they seem to sit on trailers better, stuff like that. But now that productions are becoming a bigger part of the game, and I expect to see that go even further with the next release, I just think pallet physics, these need to be sorted out. I mean, just loading up pallets can be hard. But if we just get out and have a look at these pallets. So this pallet weighs 600 kilograms. That's what they're saying there, 600 kilograms for these pallets, for each one of those pallets. But it's like they've just got no friction. I think some people think weight's the issue, and I think it's Scroft has changed the weight of his pallets, but to make them work better. But I mean, I think it's a friction issue more than anything, more than weight. So you see, like there, they just slid off like, you know, it was on ice, and it just makes loading operations tedious and like really frustrating at times, which really spoils the immersion of the game. I think it probably pushes a lot of people down the auto load route with, you know, sort of magic transporting pallets and things like that, which I try not to use, but I can fully appreciate why people end up going that way, because it really is a really big game spoiler for me, I think. The amount of editing I've done in my videos, because there's absolutely no way I could release that kind of language when I've been loading up pallets. Yeah, so I just think that it would be a lot better if pallet physics were sorted out. That would be my #1 change for FS25 or whichever it is. It would just make the game so much better for me. So the next one I want to talk about is crops. I think it was in FS19 with, it might have been with the Seasons mod, something like that, I don't know. But you had sort of random, I don't know how to describe it, but basically randomly sections of your field wouldn't sprout. So when you planted the seeds, you just get a little bit of crop failure in certain areas. And I think, although it was quite a nice little addition to it, I think what I would like to see is it implemented better. I know it was a mod, but not a Giants thing. And a lot of people don't like the way Seasons was brought in, or the execution of Seasons for FS22. Personally, I don't have an issue with it, but I think it would be better to maybe have like environmental damage. So, you know, maybe you could get a drought one year, crops either don't grow to the full yield, or you get too much rain and then not all your crops grow. I mean, that's very realistic. It happens a lot. If you follow like Millennium Farmer or Welker Farms, and you see what's happening with their crops a lot of the time, you know, it happens. And I think to just say you can mulch a field, you can cultivate a field, spray it with herbicide or pick the weeds out and then chuck a bit of fertilizer on and you get 100% yield, you know, that's not realistic. So I would definitely like to see some kind of implementation of crop failure. I think something like that, it needs to be selectable, so you can either have it on or you can have it off, because there's a lot of people who just want to go out and harvest fields. So to be able to turn a crop destruction on or off is something Giants should keep. But for those who want to play it more realistically, then yeah, I think having crop failure would definitely be a great addition. Right, so another one, and kind of touched on this at the start of the episode there. There's certain settings which aren't tied into your game save. So as you can see now, I've probably been playing on a British map at some point, so I've got my currency set to pounds. If I'm playing on Sri Lanka, I'll have it set to euros, and when I come onto this, I've had this on dollars for whatever reason. So when I save the game with this in dollars, if I then go and play a game that's in Europe or in the UK, I know the UK is in Europe, but it will only keep the currency setting from the previous game. So it's like it's a global setting rather than an actual game specific or game save specific, and it just gets a bit annoying. Like, I could check it at the start of every game, but invariably you don't, and it just, I've had to actually restart a few games before because I've noticed that it's in the wrong currency. So I think there's certain settings which need to be set to the save game specific rather than, globally on the entire game. So that would be another thing I'd love to see in FS25. It's a minor point, but it definitely would make the game better for me. So for my next point, I've come over to Zalonka because I've experienced what I want to talk about on this map, and that's the sort of NPC or the AI in the game. I mean, it's great to see people walking around the map and other cars driving on the road, but certainly with the cars, they're a bit of a law unto themselves. Okay, I can understand that, like here, pedestrians probably have right of way. I don't know how these sort of crossings work in Poland, but this sort of thing would be a zebra crossing in the UK. It would have 2 flashing beacons, and you would be allowed to cross until somebody was off the road or not on the crossing anymore. But the sort of AI don't wait or anything like that. They just sort of seem to walk out right in front of you. That isn't realistic. And then with cars just they have a set route and they're driving there no matter what. They're indestructible. They've got amazing physics, and they'll just like stop a tractor dead. So I think I would like to see the AI be a little bit more intelligent, like understanding how or following the correct priorities at junctions, things like that, and maybe even have them at a more realistic speed. So what I mean by that isn't that they all travel at the road speed, but maybe you could have them have the odd car that drives a little bit slower, and then if others are getting stuck behind it, you wouldn't want to see every car following the slowest one. Maybe they would turn off, take a different route. So I don't know how possible that is, but certainly a massive improvement to the game driving around. It's nice to see the cars on the road, but sometimes you just have to switch them off because, like here, I could just be driving along here and a car would just pull out on you. It's be better if I could find an actual example of it. Like there, if I hadn't slowed down, that car would have just kept coming. That shouldn't happen. So I definitely would like to see an improvement to the AI and the NPCs, make them just a little bit more realistic. I can't believe it would be a massive issue, although, I'm no programmer. So that will be another point, just some more realistic NPCs. Right, so for my last point, I want to talk about mods and mod selection. I'm not sure how many mods I've got in the game. It's quite a few. Not as many as some, but it's probably knocking on about 500. And there's things, trying to find your mods when you want to select a game, it's just, have to scroll through all this to get the right stuff that you want. It's a bit tedious. And then other things like, so let's take a look at this here. Capitals have priority. They come to the top of the list. So I think basically the sim dashboard is the best explanation of this. So as you can see, you've got like sim dashboard, and because sim's in capitals, it comes first. So you've got sales over here, SA should come before SI, but because this is capitalized, it comes first. And when it first happened, I downloaded it and I was looking all around here thinking, well, where's this mod? I knew it was in my mod folder, and it's just because it's capitalized, it didn't come up first. And again, class is a good example of this. If you look at the class packs, I nearly did it there. You see, you've got class here, so this is obviously a mod, so you can see it's been spelled as it is, class with a little lowercase l, and it comes in the right order. But other mods come out capitalized and they're at the front. I think that would be a nice thing to change, actually have things in alphabetical order rather than capitals being a priority. And the other thing maybe you could have is sort of a favorite. So, like I did in my 5 favorite mod reviews, if you could put a favorite on those, and then somewhere up here you just select favorites, the ones that you always go to, and you can either select them all or just pick the ones that you want for that particular game. Perhaps you could do something like that, so it saves you having to scroll all the way down the list just to get all your favorite mods. So I definitely think that doing something like that would be a huge benefit to the game. So that's my review of what I'd like to see in the next version of the game. Let me know what you think of it, and if you've got anything that you would like to see, get that in the comments as well. You know, without doubt, Farming Simulator is a fantastic game. Love playing it. I've played it since FS17, and I had a mobile version way before that, probably one of the first mobile versions. It's a game for everyone. You know, you can play this game any way you want. There's no right or wrong way. If you want to be totally ultra realistic, you can do that. If you just want to harvest stuff and drive tractors and, you know, not really care what the outcome is, you can do that too. No matter what happens, I'll definitely be getting the next version of the game, whether that's FS25 or 26 or whatever. I'll be getting it, and I'll be doing more content. I think what is really interesting, I've tried playing FS17 a few months ago, and I just couldn't. I hated it. The game has changed so much since that version. I know some people that launched the new game seem to get criticised, but I genuinely think that FS22 was an improvement on FS19. It's always strange because there's no mods out for it when it's first launched, and without a doubt, it's the mods that makes the game. You know, they are, without the modding community, this game wouldn't be what it is. So when a new version comes out and you're just left with base game stuff, or there's features not brought in yet that you really liked, I think that's probably one of the reasons it gets the criticism. But you just have to be patient. You know, the modders will come through and make the game a whole lot better. So I hope you've enjoyed this. So take care, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye for now.